Hello to Let's Make a Profit podcast. My name is Rebecca Howell and I'm your host. This podcast was designed to be informational on the profit first method, the highs and lows of being a small business owner, and owning your financials. We are going to help eradicate entrepreneurial poverty. Did you know that 83% of all small business owners run their business check to check? If you are tired of not paying yourself your value, losing your why in the process, and working in your business rather than on your business, you have found your people. I am here to show you how not to continue being part of that 83% group. Again, like I said, my name is Rebecca Howell. I'm the owner and operator of Custom Bookkeeping and Accounting Solutions. I'm an enrolled agent with the IRS and a certified Profit First advisor. I'm going to take just a second to thank my sponsors before I introduce my special guest today. Dr. Bo and Jamie Mullen and their staff at Harbor Life Chiropractic. They want to help you in unleashing your health potential. Tim and Sadie at BD Local Studios. Thank you for all your hard work with helping us make our podcast great. Roger Sargent with Affluence Business Solutions, helping the business owners and their team with their business development and leadership skills. So today, I am joined by a very, very special guest. He is the author of The Toilet Paper Entrepreneur, The Pumpkin Plan, Surge, Clockwork, Profit First, and his latest book, Fix This Next. Let me welcome Mike McCowitz.
Rebecca, thanks for pulling this off. I'm so happy to be here with you.
Thank you. Thank you for joining. I appreciate it.
My joy.
So my first question is, why did you write Profit First?
Well, there's a personal reason behind it, but there's a bigger picture. Personally, I've been an entrepreneur my entire life. Mm-hmm. I struggled with profit. I thought that one day profit would fall in my lap if I just worked hard enough and long enough that this magical moment would happen, and it never did. The bigger thing, though, was this. I read a statistic. It was published by U.S. Bank. SBA was involved too, and they identified that of the 300 million small businesses globally, and a small business, by the way, is a company that does $25 million in annual revenue. So that's a pretty big small business, or less.
Pretty big group.
Yeah, it's a pretty big group. 83% are surviving check by check. 83%, I don't know what the math is. That's 250 million businesses don't have enough money today to pay the bills tomorrow. Therefore, it's panic. We must sell. We must survive. And my thought was, hold on, if we all, or many of us, go into business for financial freedom, like to not worry about bills, how come the number one problem is we worry about bills? Mm-hmm. And what's wrong with us?
Worry about
and that's
the
when
money.
I discovered there's nothing wrong with us. Mm-hmm. There is something fundamentally flawed in the fundamental profit system we're taught. We're told that profit comes last. Sales minus expenses equals profit. Mm-hmm. Well, that makes logical sense. Behaviorally, when something comes last, it means it's insignificant. Like if you love your family, Rebecca, you don't say, I put my family last. I love them so much.
Right.
Or if your health matters, you don't say, you know what? I'm really gonna start working on my health. I'm gonna put it last. Last means it waits. It's the manana syndrome. Mm-hmm. Profit comes last means it can wait. So most of us wait till the end of the year. And it's so pervasive in our vernacular. We call it the bottom line, the year end, all things saying comes last. So I wrote Profit First to say, no, profit comes first. And what I mean in practice is every time you have a sale, you take a predetermined percentage of that sale, that income as profit, allocate it away, hide it away, and then run your business off the remainder. The remainder is for the expenses.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. Well, and one of the things you talk about in Profit First is the Parkinsons Law, and you explain the tube of toothpaste. When less money is available to run your business, you'll always find a way to get a better result, and by taking less, by working with less. So you take the profit first, you're forced to think of a smarter and be more innovative.
Right. Restrictions bring about innovation. The funny thing is business owners already know this. Every business owner that started a business from scratch gets this. You don't have enough money. You don't have enough time. So you start becoming innovative. Oh, maybe I can't buy computer equipment. Maybe I can borrow some used stuff, or, maybe I can't afford to go marketing. Maybe I can network in a way that other people that already have a market will market for me. We think outside the box. Money, though, starts to dumb us down. As the income starts to increase, we start to spend more. And Parkinson's Law has two sides to it. There's a duality. As income increases, our spend increases almost uncannily at the same rate. That's why Many businesses say if we just had more sales, we'd be solved, everything would be solved. But the expenses then the next day are at the same rate. And they're like, oh my gosh, I need to sell even more. We have this constant thirst to go up, but our expenses are increasing at the same rate.
Right.
So Parkinson's Law says as a resource expands in availability, more cash flows in our business, the more we'll spend. But by restricting, by pulling out profit first, now I put this gap in there, and then we can only live within the means of what's available for us. So by taking our profit first, our business speaks to us and tells us what we truly have available to spend. And we become innovative. That's the other side of Parkinson's Law. Constriction brings forced frugality, but also innovation. We start thinking outside the box and get the same results in different ways.
Exactly. Just you're looking at when and like small businesses owners, they do this. They look at their cash accounts. They look at their bank accounts, and if they don't see as much money in the operating expenses, it makes them think different. It's a different mindset. It's not necessarily changing the way you run your business. We're just looking at a different mindset of saying, hey, we don't have as much money, so let's think about how we need to run our business a little bit better.
Yeah, I call it intercepting the behavioral path.
Mm-hmm.
What I mean by this, so I wanted to start working out regularly. I've always believed it's important, but really had a difficult time sticking with it for a long period of time. Well, now I've been working out 5 days a week for 7 years, and I found the key. I asked myself a simple question. I said, when I get up in the morning, that's when I should be working out. What am I doing? Well, I get out of bed, I go to the bathroom, I get a cup of coffee, I read the newspaper, or surf the internet, and now I'm like, oh my gosh, I'm late for work, and I skip the workout. Well, looking at my path, I said, oh, when I wake up, I always go to the bathroom. I started to put my sneakers on top of the toilet seat in our house. The only way I can use the bathroom is by grabbing my sneakers. Once they're in the hand, that's the first step. I'm like, let's put on my feet. And now it intercepts my path, and I've been getting to the gym. Well, I noticed for entrepreneurs, myself included, my accountant says, read the balance sheet, the cash flow statement, the income statement, know the critical metrics, the operating cash ratio, and all these different things. That's shooting over my head. I had a simple system. I would log in my bank account, and based upon the money I saw there, I could either spend it or there wasn't any money, and I would panic. So if the behavioral path is you're logging into your bank account, we need to set the system up there. So profit first, we set up multiple accounts at your bank, you log in, and now you see what money's intended for what use before you spend it. You see what's been allocated toward profit and to reserve for your tax liabilities and what's available to spend within the business. And we start working within the confines of that.
You gave the accounts the purpose, so you labeled them.
That's right.
And as I've started Profit First, I've realized that I was that business owner that logged in every morning and checked my bank account because I am intentionally doing the process of bringing my income in, and once a week I do my allocations, and once a week I pay my bills. I don't think about it until the next Friday when it's ready for me to do it again. I don't check my bank account. So I've gained that little bit of time that it's taken me to do that. So
it's interesting. Me too. I've been doing this for myself for 12 years now. And the frequency I was checking, admittedly, was sometimes, 5 or 6 times a day, hoping that deposit would come in.
Yeah.
And now I have this assurity that how the Profit First system works is money flows in, it accumulates in a depository account. We call it income. Then it gets allocated out to these different accounts. I just have this assurance. Once the money is allocated out, I work with what's in the OpEx to spend. I have profit reserved. There's also an account called owner's comp to pay a normalized salary for the owner operator of a business. And now I check less frequently because I just know on Friday, we do actually weekly also. On Friday, that's our allocation time. I know that's the time to check. So it's reduced some of that mania of checking constantly.
And I think too, it reduces the level of stress because you're not as worried. You're more in tuned with running your business and doing what you need to, collecting your revenues, running your teams. So I think it changes a very positive mindset. It really does.
I agree.
Okay. So my next question, do you believe that there's a business out there where Profit First won't work? And I already know your answer, but.
Well, maybe not. So I don't know of a business that doesn't work, but let me give you the parameters. We're very fortunate. We have over 350,000 companies that have successfully implemented Profit First. So we have a wide breadth of businesses to consider. I don't think it'll work for government. So if you want to consider government a business, it doesn't work for them.
I don't consider them. I'm looking at the small business industry.
Yeah. And the only variant, the only community that I see has to make a tweak to the system that's substantial is not-for-profit businesses. It works for not-for-profit businesses, still need sustainability, but we changed that profit account to a purpose account. So there needs to be a subtle shift for them. Everyone else, we consistently see success without needing any adjustments.
Absolutely. Okay. So what do you believe to be the top 3 obstacles business face in implementing profit first?
So the first obstacle is the belief, it's a shell game. I don't need this. So there's a mental block, like, oh my gosh, like all this is a shell game. Money's money. If I divide it up into different accounts, it's still the same amount of money. How can I get profit out of that? But it's not a shell game. What it is a behavioral system. It works with our natural behaviors. We start working within the envelopes or the allotments that we've made for certain purposes before spending it. So the first roadblock is the mindset. And there's other variants of it, like, to go to the bank and set up accounts at the bank, that's so overwhelming. Yeah, it's going to be an hour of your time. Actually, with COVID, you probably do it remotely in half hour, but it's a little bit of your time for a lifetime of improvement.
Yep.
I think another obstacle or roadblock people run into is that when they do profit first, they go too hard, too fast. So,
Yes.
My business is struggling. I'm going to throw 50% of income to profit because I want to be really profitable. And it's like if you haven't exercised in 20 years and you say, I'm going to go to the gym and run on the treadmill, the equivalent of a marathon, my first day in, you'll have a heart attack.
Yeah, you're going to fail.
Yeah, you're going to fail. Like let's just learn to stretch the first day. So you let it start slow and let it grow. It's a slow implementation that's successful. And the other obstacle is perhaps the most common and damaging is people say, I get the profit first idea, allocate money to its intended use before spending it. I'm not going to do this in my bank. I'm going to do it in a spreadsheet or I'll do it in my accounting system.
Yep.
The reason that doesn't work is that doesn't intercept the behavioral path. That's not working.
You didn't
walking
change
to
anything.
The bathroom and grabbing your gym sneakers. That requires you to divert yourself. What I tell people is, if you have an accounting system, you already have your money allocated into different accounts. It's called a general ledger. The money is being allocated to determined use. How's that serving you? And most entrepreneurs say, well, I don't even look at it because I log into my bank account. And the answer or response to that I say is exactly. That's why you must set this up at the bank.
Yep. Take the steps and just get to the bank. So here's another one of your quotes. A financially healthy company is a result of a series of small daily financial wins, not one big money. Profitability is an event or is not an event. It's a habit. So along of what you were just saying, it's just, you have to create that behavioral mindset.
Yes. And many entrepreneurs, myself for over a decade, believed that profit was an event, that meaning it's an eventuality, that if I simply keep cranking away my business, one day all this money would come in. Maybe a big investor would just dump money in my pocket, or that big client would finally be the turning moment where my pocket was full of cash. The interesting thing was the reverse was happening. As I was growing on the sales, I was less profitable, as under more stress in my organization. What I teach in Profit First is that it's an accumulation of micro wins. Every transaction, which could be during the multiple times during the day or hundreds of times during the day, but every single transaction, we extract a little piece of profit, and that stuff starts piling up pretty quickly. The nice thing in execution is this isn't like this thing where we're checking constantly. We're in this kind of mania state of I need to allocate profit. You can do it in these intervals. We call them allocation periods, so weekly or biweekly or even monthly. But what it does is it forces us to take profit from every transaction ultimately, and therefore the money accumulates and you've made profit now a habit, and your business will be perpetually profitable.
One of my little aha wins was when I logged into my bank account and I was like, I have money in my tax account. It's like, yay. It was a little win for me. I loved it.
Isn't that great?
I love it.
I can't tell you how many emails I get. I can't tell you how many emails I get when it comes to tax time. Like that, I never expected this. What I suggest in Profit First is on a quarterly basis, take out your profit distribution. I expect people to say, hey, I had this great profit and this is what I did. But when tax time comes, people email me, call me. I have people show up in my office. Mike, I paid my tax bill. My company paid it. This was awesome. I'm so excited. Like, excited to pay taxes. It sounds like perverse. But the thing is this, the number one largest bill, if you will, associated with the operation of a business that businesses are least prepared for is the tax bill.
It's taxes. Yep.
Yeah, I guess people get caught off guard all the time. Like, I owe how much to who?
Yep.
Oh my God. And then we react, which is totally perverse, but we like go, oh my gosh, let me rack up expenses. Let me spend $10 to save $3.
Right.
And we start taking these actions that give us temporary relief for long-term agony, like really bad agony. But your business can pay your taxes. It can reserve on your behalf.
Mm-hmm.
And there's this interesting confidence that comes about when you never worry about taxes again, because your business has taken care of it.
Care of it. Yeah. I mean, as a tax preparer, I have those conversations with my clients all the time. They're like, I owe what? And it's like, you made money. You made money. This is a good problem to have. I've always said that when you finally owe the IRS, you have arrived.
You have arrived. And then, what happens, of course, the client, because they're not prepared for it, they shoot the messenger. You're killing me. The reality is, and I've had the privilege now of traveling to so many different countries throughout the globe, meeting with so many different entrepreneurs. I've yet to visit any country where the government doesn't stick its long, sticky fingers in our businesses and pull money out. It's part of the operations of business. You must pay taxes. And the beautiful thing is your business, regardless of the formation of business, can allocate money for taxes and address that. You have to work with a professional like yourself to make sure you do the reimbursements properly, but the business can always reimburse for that or pay it directly.
Absolutely. Okay. So now I'm going to go a little bit deeper and talk about Profit First Professionals and your partnership with Ron Shaharian. So what was your plan or your end goal with creating this family community that you've done?
Well, it was very clear when I wrote the manuscript for Profit First and started circulating it. The book that's out today is now the revised and expanded edition. Mm-hmm. The first version came out maybe 6 years ago. I got calls immediately from, these are pre-readers, people that just knew of my other work and were interested, saying, who's the accountant that does this? Who's the bookkeeper that does this? And it was very clear that I needed to organize a company around this, a membership organization of getting accountants and bookkeepers and coaches that were certified this process to maintain a certain standard that they could teach it. Otherwise, it was gonna be willy-nilly. And Ron specifically, he's run organizations before. He's a longtime friend of mine too. I know him all the way back, literally from high school.
And he is an accountant as well, isn't he?
Pardon me?
He's an accountant, a CPA?
No, he's not an accountant.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, isn't that funny? He's not an accountant. And that was, but the funny thing was, one of the parameters was, I don't know if I wanted someone that was an accounting professional as much as someone that hired accounting professionals and knew what the relationship was like and the dependency we have on accounting professionals. And Ron has worked with quite a few accountants and bookkeepers and coaches throughout his lifetime in business. So I approached him, and it took about a half bottle of wine and and a conversation with his wife and my wife, and we agreed that this is a great opportunity. And I'm so proud of what we've accomplished. Ron is the managing director for our organization. He leads our endeavors and has been the impetus for us growing. We now have over 500 members globally that are certified in this process. Which is a drip in the bucket. To us, this is the Navy SEALs of the accounting community and the bookkeeping community. These are the elite providers who know the system, have become certified in this, have the experience to properly serve clients, entrepreneurs, in achieving permanent profitability through Profit First.
Well, I want to say thank you for providing that opportunity for myself and all of us that are certified in Profit First.
It's our joy, and the thanks goes right back to you. I mean, it's such a symbiotic relationship. What you're doing is so important. It's interesting. Profit First, the book, is the recipe. It's not the chef. And so some people are chefs and they read it and they can do it themselves, and they should. A lot of people read the recipe and go, oh, I really should get a professional chef to do this. So they need to seek out a certified Profit First professional. Sadly, due to the popularity of Profit First, it's become such a global brand that some people say, well, I've read the book and I'm an accountant, so therefore I'm capable. But they're not, that's the starting point. As you know, through Profit First Professionals, the training you must go through, the advanced processes, it's an organic living system. The book itself is 6 years old. The process has enhanced over 6 years. So we mandate that our members are on the current technology, the current understanding and implementations of Profit First, have proven that they're capable through testing procedures and through implementing Profit First for multiple clients and doing it for themselves. Like every Profit First professional is held to the standard of executing Profit First in our own business. Absolutely. We live by what we teach.
Absolutely. Yep. Okay. So now I want to dive into your previous books. Did you intentionally tie your books together to create that leveraging good behavior and consistency that you talk about so often?
Oh, yes. Yes. I didn't have a grand vision the day I wrote my first book, of like, I'm going to write all these books and they're going to link together. When I wrote my second book, which was called The Pumpkin Plan,
Mhm.
I was like, oh my gosh, there is different events and sequences entrepreneurs go through. Not necessarily linearly. Like if you read my books, from the first release out, they don't work necessarily in a linear progression, but they all are linked. I wrote a book called Fix This Next. That's my
Mhm.
most current release.
Most current one.
I consider that the hub book. And why I consider the hub book is the biggest challenge entrepreneurs face is knowing what their biggest challenge is. We may have a profit challenge, or maybe it is a sales challenge that we think it is, or maybe it's an efficiency problem, or maybe it's something different about visioning or something. But the question is, what really will serve the business?
Mhm.
So I wrote Fix This Next for entrepreneurs who are unsure of where to get started, to pinpoint what the business needs from them. And then my intention is to have all these other books around it that satisfy that need once they know what the need is. I'm only 6 books, maybe 7 books in now. I got about 25
In mind.
yeah, in mind. So I got a lot. I actually have one I'm working on right now. So I have
You
a
have a
lot more
lot of
right
work ahead of you.
I have a lot of work ahead of me.
Yes, you do. Okay. So we know that you and Ron have started the Profit First office. I want to know from you, what have you guys implemented that you talk about in your book that cultures the mirrors and the concepts of the behavior that you talk about in the book? And this
So,
question actually came from my coach, Liz.
oh, I love it.
Yeah.
So the foundation, and we invite all our PFPs. COVID is pretty difficult, but to visit the office and spend time there, the feedback we get is remarkable. Now we're a tiny business. We have 8 people working at that office. We've expanded that. We actually had to move into additional space. As an author, there's another 6 people. So collectively, there's about 14 people. So we're tiny. But the culture is so powerful that our little group of people are delivering. Our belief is about the same level as competitors twice as big as us, meaning twice as many employees.
Mm-hmm.
The foundation is a clear set. We call them immutable laws, values. Immutable meaning they're unchanging. What are the laws and values we have? And I'll give you a little flavor. One is positivity or death. Like you can look at any situation. That's the term we use, but you can look at any situation and see the opportunity in it, or you can see the challenge. Not the challenge, but the downside of it.
Right.
Challenges can be seen as an opportunity. So we just looking for people that have a positive, get it done attitude. That's a big deal. Like you can't train people on their attitude. You can't train people's intelligence. You can give them the skills, but you can't give them those intangibles. So we hire on values like that. We have other values too. There's 4 collectively, and we found that when you bring people on based upon these fundamental values, it becomes a very cohesive unit. Our people like each other. I love my teams. I will do anything to support them. Actually, right before this, we had a little get together at the local diner, eatery here, just to hang out, just because we want to hang out.
Right.
That
y'all like each other.
We like each other. Yeah, that culture is powerful. The other thing we do, I wish I could take my camera for a little tour here, is we create these operating manuals. So if you go outside my door, there's a picture of me when I was a kid. Everyone has a picture of when you were a kid, a goofy picture, just to show that we're adults today, but we all come from the same basis of learning and growing. So it's a fun reflection on that. But we call it the operating manual. And it specifies like what my skills and talents are, where my weaknesses are. Here the ways I'm an effective communicator and the way I struggle to communicate. And it's a real quick kind of cliff notes on how to engage each other. That's been a powerful tool too.
I'm currently reading a book called Grit by Angela. I'm trying to remember her last name, but it's The Grit. She talks about, how children, as they grow up, they have talents, but you also have these living conditions that you grew up in, but you can't teach grit. It just happens.
Yeah.
I think that, if you find people, and I think that you have a lot of the group of people that you have has that tenacious gift of grit.
Yeah. So yeah, for sure.
You have a good group of grit in your in your staff.
The gritters. We'll call them the gritters. Yeah.
So, okay. This is just a little personal question. We all know you're very busy, but obviously we'd like to know what you do or what you look forward to in your personal life.
Well, I mean, time with my wife is awesome. Like it's every day I'm
Your
hanging out
family.
with her is awesome. She's my best friend, so it's just really cool.
That's a great
Um,
relationship.
oh, I'm so lucky. Like I can't wait. After we're done here, I'm gonna head home, and I think it's too late for wine time, but I just look forward to watching some stupid TV show like The Bachelorette or something with her. It'll be fun. Which is just ridiculous. I'm addicted to those type of shows. They're ridiculous and they're so awesome. Um, and the other thing is I love sports, watching sports, but I love participating in competitive type stuff, not against other people, but against myself, where you set what's called PRs, personal records.
Personal
So
goals.
just
Yep. Personal record.
personal records on, like, I just do dumb things. Like I'm like, hey, can I do 1,000 push-ups in one day? So I did that, and I'll show you something. I don't really show this too often, but this is my intentions, my goals for the year. You can see.
Wow. Yeah. You got a long list there.
I mark it up, and here you can see these are all personal records I achieved.
Nice.
This year. So for me, that's fun.
Yeah.
It's a good way to live out some healthy aspects of life.
Yeah.
But also have accountability.
Be accountable to yourself.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Personal records. Yeah.
So I do know on the little inside that you have a new book coming out September of 21. Is that right?
Yeah.
Yes. So I'm going to give you the opportunity. Different is better. Is that the name of the book?
Different is better.
And
Yeah,
why did you write this one?
Different is better. We're actually just starting to play around with ideas, concepts.
It's still in its baby steps. Inception.
Yeah. So I'll show you, you can't see my desk, but let me show you. This is the last right here. All this crap here.
Wow.
This is the last week of writing and working on it. So when I get into writing a book, it's about the systems and processes. Here's what it is marketing, of course, is the foundation for growing a business.
Mm-hmm.
I think one misunderstanding I had about marketing was that I needed a good marketing plan. And I do, but it's 2 steps down the road. The first thing we need to do is learn how to win the attention of customers, retain that attention,
right,
and attract them. Marketing doesn't happen in plans and years and months. It doesn't even happen in seconds. Some people are like, oh, marketing is 10 seconds or 7 seconds. It happens in milliseconds, in little frames. I need to do stuff that attracts attention, gets attention, keeps people engaged, and then if it's suited for them, inspires them to take action.
Mm-hmm.
So this is the framework. So the book is Different is Better. There's a framework that shows you how to engage customers and keep them engaged and taking action over and over again. I hope I'm pretty convinced it's a perennial framework. I mean, it can be used for eternity. It's not like the trendy thing, like, oh, run Facebook ads. No, that it's none of that. It's a methodology, a framework that can be applied to any marketing situation to ensure that it delivers the results you want.
Well, I truly think marketing is a consistency thing, because I mean, myself, and I have a story behind Profit First. When I first read the book, it fit a purpose for what I was doing, but it came back to me several times, and it was that intentional reminding in my brain that Profit First kept coming to me for a reason, and that's what got me on this path. But sometimes people just need to be, they need to be. It needs to keep circling back, and it needs to be a repeated thing, because sometimes people look at it and it's gone. So it's more or less about, just the consistency in the marketing.
Yeah, for sure. What's interesting is, I think there was a study about how many marketing messages are out there any given day. I think it's around 3,000, and we don't see any of them. But there's something even more with greater exposure, which is just all the stimulus around us. Right now, in the room you're in, Rebecca, there's thousands of things you can consider. Like, why is the wall this color? Why are those soundboards that color? Well, who thought the word color? What does color mean? We could just go on and on. But our minds are very efficient at ignoring that, because it would be an endless trap. Yeah. So marketing is just part of another thing to be considered. How do you get the mind triggered that it takes notice in the first place? Repeatability is part of it, but doing something that's distinct and different is another part of it. Our minds are wired, and I call it different is better. Our minds are wired to notice different. If it's unexpected, our mind is forced to consider it. That unexpected, that different, affords us that 0.5 seconds, half a second of attention
to gain our attention.
Earn retaining that attention and then directing the client to take action.
Well, thank you so much for your time. I have really appreciated this opportunity to sit down with you personally, and thank you for writing the book Profit First. Thank you for starting Profit First Professionals. I
Thanks for being part of it.
would not have this opportunity if it wasn't for that. So thank you very much.
You are very welcome. Thank you for saying that. You are welcome.
Thank you.